Hey, what's going on, guys? Today we're checking in on the Kotobukiya Frame Arms Girl hand scale lineup here with the Durga I. So this is one we've actually checked out in the full Frame Arms Girl version. You can check out that review if you guys missed it. But today we're going to be checking out the hand scale version, which if you guys have not seen any other hand scale reviews, they're really small little kits, but super detailed and really nice articulation and color separation considering the size of them as well. So they're pretty impressive little kits. Let's go ahead and check out the Durga I here for today's video. All right, and because this is a pretty small kit, this is going to be a fairly small box as well, of course. It is using the same illustration artwork from the full-size version of the Frame Arms Girl Durga I. I'll say this again, I do kind of wish that they would have new artwork for the hand scale kits. I know it's like the same design, it's just shrunken down and it's expensive to, get new artwork done for the box, but it would be nice. I think the only real, major noticeable difference is that we have the inclusion of a photograph of the built and painted kit right here on the front, showing that it is going to be 88 millimeters in height, so less than 10 centimeters essentially here on the ends of the box. Just going to be kind of the same thing there. If we look around over here on this side of the box, we got some images of the built and painted kit in some different poses, and also a little bit here about the gimmick, which I guess is just a gimmick of being able to change the face parts there essentially. And then a look at the included decals. We have decals just basically for the eyes. Around here over on the other side of the box, we've got some more images of the built and painted kit there front and back, and then a kind of a pose there, not necessarily an action pose, but a pose anyway. On the back side here, a little bit about how you can mix and match these parts with the Hexagear series, the Hexagear series being 1/24th scale, and these hand scale Frame Arms Girl kits being very similar in scale, very similar in size anyway, going well along with those. And we've got the MSRP for this one coming in at 3,300 yen. But let's go ahead and crack the box and see what we've got inside here. It's pretty packed here, even though it's a small box, we have a lot of stuff. Looks like it's about 8 runners plus a few more little bits there. So we'll go through all that stuff in just a moment. First of all, for the instruction manual, we've just got the same box art there on the front. And if we open this up to the inside here, we've just got the parts list right there and construction of the kit. So I don't know if this is going to really have too much else to see here in the manual. Let's see if we get back to the last couple pages. Here's our color and decal guide right there. The color is at the bottom. And then this is at continued here onto the next page, the color and decal guide there, like so. Again, just a couple of action shots. And that's kind of about it for the manual. You also have those water slide decals included. And like I said, it's basically just water slides for the eyes there if you want to use those. But we do have our two very teeny tiny pre-printed face option parts here. One with a kind of O face and another one with just a kind of regular looking off to the side face there like that. So these are tiny, but the printing on them is pretty incredible. Getting into the runners then, we do have some hand parts here molded in white and a little bit softer plastic. We've got holding hands, open expressive hands, different type of holding hands there. Also got a set of holding hands here with just a small circular grip, and then a set of closed fists and open resting hands. Runner A is going to be our clear red parts, and it is a sort of sparkly clear. You do have that kind of pearlescent sparkle inside the clear plastic, which looks really nice. Runner B here is going to be all of our white parts for the kit. Not a lot, but there's a few of those. Runner C has all of our skin tone parts here, including the unprinted faces if you wanted to use some of those decals on those and make your own face parts. Runner D, a much larger runner here, full of a bunch of purple armor parts on there. Runner E is going to be all of our parts for the hair in a kind of yellowish tan kind of color. Runner F is some molded gold parts here, which will make a really nice accent. And then lastly, Runner G has a few more parts there in purple, and that's it. Let's go ahead and check out the kit. All right, guys, and once we got the kit all built up, here's how big it is. Very small, of course, but again, as it is with these kits, just packed with lots of detail, really nice color separation in there, and even just straight out of the box, this one looks fantastic. It's gonna look even better with a little bit of panel lining on there just to help bring out some of those little details on there, just because it's kind of hard to appreciate them, maybe unless you look in real close. Looking at this from afar, I mean, it looks really nice, but it would look even better if you were to just bring out some of those little details there. But fantastic looking little kit. We've got some really cool little accessories here to go with it, but for the most part, I mean, these hand scale kits are not going to be quite as packed with accessories as the full scale versions, but we do have some really nice options with this one, so let's go ahead and get into it. So we don't have a whole lot of accessories with this one, but we do have our two pre-printed faces. The one much more expressive here with like this angry sort of attacking face there, and then just kind of this simple sort of smiling face looking off to the side, although it's not super easy to see the smile or the expression on the face there with only the eyes being printed. With this one also having the open mouth printed, it's much easier to kind of get the expression from that one, which I think is preferable. But then as a reminder, you do have both of those face option parts completely unprinted if you wanted to paint those yourself or use the water slide decals on those. And then going down to our hand option parts, as you can see here, we've got a set of closed fists. We've also got a set of open resting hands as well as open expressive hands here like this. And then 3 different types of holding hands. So we have one set that just has this small hole here, and then one set for like a little bit larger round handles. That's going to be for like your standard 3mm size, and then one that's a little bit more squared for like square type weapon handles, which is actually going to be the hands that are going to be best suited here for the rectangular grip on our lance weapon that we have. So really cool with that clear red part in here for the lance. Really like the look of this, but that's just going to be held in the hand. I'm not sure if we'll be able to get a two-handed grip on that. We should be able to. The articulation on these kits is actually surprisingly really quite good. And lastly, we have this connection piece here, which is going to give us a spot for plugging this onto a base. So this is going to actually plug in on the backpack. You notice that little rectangular little tab right there in kind of the middle of the backpack. That's where this is going to plug in here, kind of like from the side, and then that'll just give us a 3mm hard point there for plugging this onto a base if you want to do like a jumping or flying sort of pose with this. So that'll certainly come in handy. As for the main kit here, just like with the lance, those clear red parts really stand out as some nice accents there, but then you do have the little bits of gold in here as well, and it's just some really nice detail. So we have seen different versions of like the Magatsuki in the hand scale frame arms girl line before, so it's just being sort of like a different variant of that. It's all pretty familiar. The Durga does have these pretty long and large hair parts here at the back that do have a little bit of articulation there. These front bits also can be moved slightly just to kind of get them out of the way when changing the pose, or also just to kind of make it look like they're blowing in the wind or something. You can have them pose like that. So a little bit of articulation there. Single joint in the elbow, as you might expect, but then a double joint at the knee that will give you a really nice full bend there with separation of this big piece of armor that she's got kind of on the front of the knee. That's just attached via a little ball joint right there. The shoulder armor up here is also attached via a ball joint, so those could be switched, I suppose, if you wanted to. That larger piece of armor maybe looks a bit weird up here connected on the shoulder, but that shoulder armor moved down to the knee actually is a pretty good fit there for something like that if you wanted to customize this a bit. You also have these parts here at the back. These are just also attached via the same small little ball joint like that, but you do have this kind of gold piece here, which unlike the full-size kit is meant to fold out, but on this version it doesn't really do that, so I'm not sure how easy this would be to plug onto like a different spot just because of that gold part maybe being a little bit in the way. But these backpack parts have 2 points of articulation, one where the purple part plugs into the clear red part, and then another at like the base of this little mechanical arm here that holds these parts onto the backpack, and then obviously they're connected via a ball joint, so you'll have a little bit of movement there as well. You do have this small hard point here on the wrist. There's not really much that you can really do necessarily with that because it's obviously much smaller than your standard 3mm. And then again, unlike with the full scale version, you don't have any other options like for the head. Now the full scale version comes with a couple of different options with like a little ribbon part or like a different armor piece here for the top of the head. In this case, this is just kind of a much more simplified version of the kit where you just kind of have this one loadout of the armor and everything, but it is cool that at least you can swap some of these parts on there, so I like that. But there you go, another really nice addition to this line. Now these hand scale kits are not going to be for everyone, admittedly. They're very small for one, but I think I think they're really nice for what you get, because Kotobukiya does really pack a lot of detail and a lot of articulation into this really small size. But I think just the size is not necessarily appealing to everyone, but they are very like space friendly. So if you wanted to just have like a one or two or a collection of like frame arms girls, if you like the frame arms girls, but you just want to have, you know, small little versions of them to line up on your desk or shelf or something like that. These very small hand scale versions are pretty nice. I mean, you can just do a little bit of detailing on them, do a little bit of panel lining just to bring out some of the details, maybe spray some top coat on some different sections, and they look really nice just straight out of the box, even without fully painting them. With that said, even though the full scale version is going to be much more expensive, I would say it's worth it just because you do obviously have, you have it in its full scale, then you have more option parts, more accessories, more compatibility too for customizing and all that. So I think it's definitely like more value. But like I said, there's certainly good reasons to want to get one of these smaller ones as well. They're all really fun. I enjoy them quite a bit. The Durga and Magatsuki is definitely a very popular design that we've seen a lot of different versions of, both in full scale and even in hand scale as well here now. Let me know which one is your favorite down in the comment section below. I think probably the Durga II is my favorite, but I'm not sure. There's a lot of really great options there. I do really like the larger hair parts on the Durga's design. But yeah, if you guys want to check out some more of these kits for yourself or anything else from Kotobukiya, you can check out the link in the video description to USA Gundam Store. It's right down there below the video in the video description. And as always, guys, thanks so much for all of your support. Thanks for checking out the video here today, leaving a like and making sure that you're subscribed. I'll see you all in the next one. Have a good one. Bye, guys.